Hi, everyone. This is Charles Hoskinson broadcasting live from warm, sunny Colorado. Always warm, always sunny, sometimes Colorado. Today is June 27th, 2021, and I am feeling great, feeling fine. Have not eaten anything in 6 days. So I figured I'd make a video real quickly, tell you guys what the next week holds for me. So originally, when I started this whole endeavor, I said it'd be a lot of fun to do a 15-day fast because the longest was about 13 and a half days, about 2 weeks. And then I realized that if I did that, I'd be right on the edge of 4th of July. And that's a big holiday for me, for most Americans. So I said, all right, well, I'll clip it at 11 days. But there's a slight problem with refeeding. So when you go past 10 days, the recommended guidelines are about 5 to 7 days of gradual refeeding. And you have to be really careful with how you take care of things metabolically. So usually you go into a caloric restriction. So you go a few hundred calories, then more, then more, then more. Then you break 1,000, then you keep going until you get to some ratio of your body weight. And you have to be really, really careful to avoid refeeding syndrome. And they say after 10 days, the guidelines say that you're at a higher risk of that. A 5-day fast, it's about 2 days is usually what it takes for people. But everybody's different, and some people can take less, some people can take more, just where you're at metabolically, and also how you consume things during the fast. So many of you guys ask, what do I consume? And really, it's just water, stuff like this. So I got some alkaline water here. It's got some electrolytes in it, and nothing special. And as you get deeper into the fast, at some point you have to start adding this to it. This is bone broth. I like kettle and fire. If you're vegetarian, I assume they have some options. Got plenty of sodium, a little bit of potassium, a little bit of protein, but only 15 calories for the entire thing. Oh, actually, about 60 calories for the entire thing. Still pretty minuscule. There's 4 servings in there if you drink the whole bowl. So if you do that during the time of the fast with snake juice, or basically fasting salts, it's a combination of potassium, potassium, sodium, and magnesium. Things are probably pretty good, and B1. So then as you start breaking the fast, you have to gradually begin refeeding yourself. And now that I'm in an extended fast zone, there's a question of when to do that. If my target is July 4th, then the refeeding has to actually begin. The process of refeeding has to begin about 5 days earlier. So you have to start with rebuilding your microbiome if you've done things more than a week. So there's things like this. This is a fermented gut shot. It's one of the most foul, nasty stuff you can drink. You take it with some probiotics and prebiotics, and it's basically like fermented cabbage and some vinegar and some caraway. Ugh. It's not good stuff, but it's good to rebuild the microbiome. And there's a whole cacophony of stuff I'm taking to do that, or I'll begin taking, I should say, to do that starting Tuesday. And then tomorrow will be the last basically zero-ish calorie day. And then each day the calories will slightly increase, but no solid foods. So Tuesday, calories will go up a little bit. Wednesday, calories go up a little bit. And you just keep adding layers of things that get you back to where you go. And then Friday will be the first solid food day, day 11 of the fast. And exiting that day, if I've done everything right, should be feeling pretty good, pretty normal, and so forth. But anyway, I'm pretty sad that I didn't go a little longer, and July 4th was here, because I actually feel really good, and with the current regimen I'm following, I probably could do this for more than 2 more weeks if I wanted to. It was a real brutal bruiser of a time getting to the state. Day 3 was horrible. Day 4 was pretty bad too. Day 5 was okay. And today I was a little irritable because I had to work on Sunday and do some stuff. But all things considered, I actually feel really fine and really good. And heartburn has gone down tremendously. Skin feels a lot better. A lot of you guys have asked about weight loss. I've lost about 10.5 pounds. The majority of that's water weight. So when you get back off the fast, it comes back. About 3 pounds of fat, 1 pound of muscle. Pretty good ratio. All things considered, mission accomplished metabolically. I feel great, feel happy, have more energy that I've had in a long time. Inflammation's way down. I'll redo my entire set of labs that I took when I entered the fast, right at the end of the fast on Friday. I have someone coming in about 7:30 in the morning, go take 9 vials of blood out of me with all kinds of crazy things that I'm running, and we'll see where everything's at. The other thing I got to get under control is gout. I don't take my allopurinol as much as I should, so I'll do that. And that certainly shows in the labs. But all things considered, it was a great experience. Now, I'm not a doctor, and I don't recommend you take medical advice from me, and this is not medical advice. Reality is every single person is fundamentally different. Your genes are different. Your epigenome is different. Your metabolism is different. Your lifestyle is different. Your age and circumstances and conditions are different. So while fasting is universally a pretty amazing tool, how you use that tool is based on you. And to do that properly, you have to do a lot of research, a lot of experimentation, and there's a lot of professionals who actually specialize in these things. So a really good book to consult is written by a doctor, a nephrologist named Dr. Jason Fung. And that really started the basis of me starting to care about fasts. And there are certainly a lot of really good information and actually some great scientific papers that have done deep dives and meta-analyses on the efficacy of fasting, the safety of fasting, and so forth. Extended fasts are dangerous things, and they're really not for a lighthearted effort. You have to do a lot to get into it. And it's kind of brutal to get through the first week. And most people can't, not because they lack willpower, but because they set themselves up for failure. They don't prepare for keto flu because they've maybe never really been in ketosis before. They don't take the right stuff with the fast. And then metabolically, everything goes to hell. And by day 5, 6, it's just so bad. They say, I can't do this anymore. And to make matters worse, they refeed themselves in the worst possible way. They go eat a hamburger or pizza. I remember the very first fast I did. It was about 5 days, and I happened to be in Chicago at the time. And I just said, "Fuck it, I'm done. I can't do this anymore." And I got one of those thick deep dish pizzas that had 2 layers of pepperoni and cheese in the crust, garlic, sausage. God, it was amazing. And lots of wings with it that were hot wings and so forth. It was a terrible day and a half afterwards. Pizza was probably good enough to justify that, but relatively terrible day and a half. Don't do that. And consult a physician and consult a nutritionist before you go down this road. If your goal is weight loss, extended fasting is really not a good mechanism for that. Because you would like to exercise, you'd like to do things, and a lot of your weight loss is water, a lot of fat, but you'll also burn muscle at the same time. If you want to minimize muscle burn and get most of the benefits, intermittent fasting or a 2-5 program, there's a lot of studies that show that that's pretty effective, and you can maintain an exercise regimen pretty regularly with that. So don't view this as a weight loss. More of it is it's a cleansing, a mental reset. Helps your microbiome rest a little bit, your intestines and guts rest a little bit. So if you're having digestive problems or a litany of other conditions, as I have, then that's probably something to consider. But again, it's not for the lighthearted. It's quite hard. And boy, this was a really tough one. I had several business meetings I had to go to where I sat in a restaurant, like I went to the Cork up in Boulder. I had my water, and everybody else was eating. They had prime rib and that beautiful mud pie at the Cork. They had, the charcuterie boards and brie-crusted almonds, almond-crusted bries, excuse me, lobster ravioli, amazing sides, like 8 different damn types of potatoes. And when you're fasting for a long period of time, you can smell every nuance in those dishes. And that's a very good restaurant. So I was just sitting there drinking my water. And I've had several meals like that where I was the guy just kind of watching and being an observer and having to smell all of it. So that's another thing to mention about an extended fast. If you're crazy enough to go down this road and medically you think you can do it, and you've gotten good advice about it, then please do put yourself in the right setting. I have a ranch up in Wyoming. At some time in the future, if I do this again, I'm probably going to take a week or two off and just go hang out on my ranch away from people and live a very ascetic life for those 2 weeks. And I'm sure it'd be a lot easier. That said, is what it is, and not complaining about it. This has actually been a great experience, and I've had so much fun with it. It's nice to know that a person has the willpower to go do something great. And I think it's a lesson for anybody. The reality is, no one is born special and capable. You can achieve anything if you want to. You just have to have the will to do it, and you have to set the right accountability. And you have to put yourself in the right setting to succeed. And I've been surrounded by great people, been incredibly supportive, and I was always one phone call away from getting advice if something came up. And I had a chance to go back through and do a proper literature review on the latest and greatest guidelines for things. And turns out a lot of good science on how to handle the fast and the post-fast and the refeeding. But I consider myself to be very fortunate. And it's nice to have gone through this. And I noticed that many of you have decided, I've got emails about this, tweets about this, Telegram messages about this, to start sympathy fast where you too are fasting. And again, I always say, if you're going to do that, get some advice, professional advice before you go down that road. But it really does mean the world to me that encourage a lot of people to look at the world a little differently and think a little differently and do something a little uncomfortable, outside of your bounds. David Bowie used to say, don't play to the crowd. When you do your best work, when you're not comfortable, your feet are a little off the ground. You can't quite see the coast anymore. And I very firmly believe that's true. So just a little update. I'll give you an update at day number 11, the first day of solid food. I'll probably get a steak, but that'll be the second meal. The first meal will probably be something green and leafy, but slow carbs. You don't want to spike your insulin levels. It's a really bad thing to do as you're refeeding. But if you refeed properly, by the time you get to the solid foods, you're already past that window, and your sodium, potassium, and magnesium are pretty balanced, and your system is working really well. All right. Thank you all for listening. And until next time, I'll see you again. And happy 4th of July. Cheers.